All right, so we're going to start with 3 patterns. These will go up on Blackboard. So you have a crotch front, and I've drawn the top stitch line on it. And then you have the facing for that fly, which is the same size. So this top stitch line is usually 1.25 inches away. And this is the kind of zipper that you would have on a pair of mid to moderately low rise pants, probably more mid rise. If your pants are coming all the way up to the waist, it's going to be a little longer. And then we need the underlap of our fly. Now, on a commercial pattern, a lot of times this will be round like this. And we just cut, it'll basically be the same pattern, and you just cut 3 of them. On commercial pants, it's almost always screwed off like this. And this seam here is 1/2 inch longer on your underlap, and you'll see why in a little bit. So I've gone ahead and cut these out. And the first thing I did, so this is on the fold on the short side. So the first thing I did was to bag this out. And I didn't clip this, I just am folding it in and pressing it carefully so that I have a fly underlap with a bagged out bottom and a nice long edge here. And I'm cutting 1 inch at the top. I'm cutting 1 inch up here because I always want to do that for pants, because that exact placement of the waist, if we're custom making pants, a lot of it is because we want to be able to put that waist exactly where we want it. And so I always want a little bit extra room in case we want that rise to come up 1/2 inch. That gives me somewhere to go. And then the other thing I've done is to sew the crotch, the front crotch together from the notch down to just short of that inseam fork. You want to sew it together a little bit. And then the last thing I did was to sew the fly facing on. And this is for a pair of women's pants that are right over left. Now, if you're wearing jeans today, look down and you probably are left over right. Most jeans companies make their jeans the same way we make men's pants, which are left over right. And if your women's pants are made by a jeans company like The Gap, their regular pants flies also are left over right. The hiking pants I'm wearing today are left over right. All of my dress pants from Ann Taylor, which started out as a women's wear suit company, they're all right over left. And so the rule is technically right over left, but for jeans, it's always left over right. And the truth is that through women's wear, we're wildly inconsistent, but men are always left over right. Okay?
Does that change anything, like the fit, or is it just like for fun?
It's just, so if you're right-handed, a zipper that laps left over right is easier for you to zip.
Okay.
I always try to tell people that sizing in women's clothes is fake.
It is.
And everyone's like, no, it's like, and I'm like, literally, like, it is, but okay, like, go off, I guess.
Oh yeah, it all slid. It used to be based on half the bust measurement. So if you had a 36 bust, you were a size 18. Well, a 36 bust is like a size 2 or a 4 these days. So they've completely slid.
I think it's a 6 now.
It depends on the brand, doesn't it?
I know, it's just because I was looking earlier, because I'm like a 36, and I was like, am I really a size 6?
No. It depends.
Exactly.
All right, so I have my pants with my facing in and just the front sewn together just a tiny little bit. And I have my underlap and I have my zipper And now I'm going to, wish me luck, go over to the sewing machine and start putting this in. I also need to wake up the iron. Because the other thing I've done is, like with the lapped zipper, I've pressed this 1/8 of an inch past my stitching line so that my zipper will be set underneath that overlap by a little bit. All right, off to the sewing machine we go. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start the way I start with a lapped zipper. And that is to put the zipper right next to this. And this usually gets top stitched in. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And my zipper pulls a little bit in the way, so I'm going to start with it down. And then as I get nearer to it, I'm going to pull it back up so that it isn't in the way. I don't actually like the zipper foot that came with this machine. It has a really wide back. And I want this stop to be right at the base of my fly, just slightly up. And you'll see why in a little bit. Okay, so I'm getting close to my zipper pull, so I'm going to leave my needle down. Pull up my zipper pull, and then I'm going to keep going down. And when I get to the back bottom, I'm going to back stitch. And then I'm going to trim my threads. Now, I need to get my underlap in. And when you get good at this, you can do it all at once with that top stitch. But when you're new, just flip everything out of the way and then stitch this as close to the zipper as you can. And you'll always want this edge to be finished, whether it's marrowed or whether it's bound. If you look at your pants, this is almost always bound, and if it's not, it's at least serged. And because that's the part that will show when you look on the inside. So we're just gonna get this zipper underlap here, and we're gonna backstitch, and we're gonna trim our threads. All right, so now I have a zipper and an underlap. I'm gonna fold that underlap out of the way, and I'm gonna pull my pants up, and I'm going to make sure that this sits exactly the way I want it to sit. And I'm gonna put a couple pins in to make sure that it doesn't move on me. Then I'm gonna flip this out of the way. And now I'm going to stitch my zipper to the fly facing, but not to the front. See how I flipped the front out of the way? So that was as close to the teeth as I could get when still have the zipper no. And then I'll need to do a second stitch at the very outside of the zipper tape. Okay, and now I'm going to unfold my pants, and you can see that now I have a zipper, a fly that looks just like the fly that you usually see in your pants. I don't have any tucks, I don't have any puckers. The only thing that's left is to stitch my fly facing to my front. And frankly, when you're new and still not, there's no shame in marking this in chalk or something that will go away, because you're going to do this as a top stitch. And this is why you want to make sure that this hard stopper is above here, because if it's below, you're going to hit it with your needle when you go to stitch this facing, because your facing is going to come in right underneath that stop. So you're going to be better off changing back to your regular foot if you can. I actually have no idea where I've stuck mine. So I'm just going to roll with it and switch sides with my zipper foot so that it's a little bit out of the way. All right. And so now I'm just going to top stitch this facing in. I'm going to slow down as I get to the base, just so that I don't hit that hard stopper with my needle, because that will break my needle. And then when I get to the bottom, I'm going to back stitch. And now your jeans have all sorts of bar tacks and reinforcements along here to keep things from falling apart. But for dress pants, you won't necessarily have that. So that's your fly. And so if you've already done a lap zipper, this isn't really that much harder. It's just about understanding how, oh, and then when you do this top stitch, you want to catch your underlap in it, which I didn't do. So I'm just going to go back and make sure that I do that so that you can see what that looks like when it's done right. So that's why this is a ½ inch longer, so that you can catch it in your top stitch for your fly. And so this will open up and it will all stay together the way you're used to on your pants, and you can get in. And you notice that my zipper is a little longer than my pants front. That's actually typical. You can put stoppers in here, or you can make sure that this is, that the zipper pull and the stops are down here. But it's actually nice to let this zipper be a little bit longer than your fly, because then your zipper teeth will just get cleaned by your waistband. You can pull out the teeth so that you don't break your needle. And then you don't have any extra bulk, and it's easy to get this zipper pull up out of your way when you're stitching all of this in. So